12:10, and I thought I'd pop on. Now I'm waiting for my nurse. I'm still up top. My nurse called me yesterday when I was at the doctor and said, "Can I see you tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah, I'll stay up top to save you the drive." And as of last night, my nephew is going to come up. He called, wanted to come up with his wife and visit mom and dad. So I'm here until my nephew leaves. Just get tossed wherever I need to be. Not sleeping the best up here, but I'm up here. And I thought, well, while I'm up here, I did have a bag of Temu come here. Most of them I send to mom and dad's now because that's where I am. This one did come in here, which means I did not click the address button correctly. Learn from my mistakes. But I thought, well, we'll go through this nasty bag. And it is nasty. Look, I don't know if they sit them on the floor of their trucks or what, but all of my Temu packages are filthy here lately. And that's not Temu's fault, but I think shipping kind of throws them there's so many of them, they just kind of toss them aside. Okay, and I can see why this one came here. This is a prize packet. And I know that because I got these faux roses, because that's basically all they had as a prize, and a towels, and I see the towels. So let's try these faux roses. Has anybody been watching the news? Like, if you come on later and watch this, look at my hair. Look at my hair. Has anybody been watching the news? And just because y'all know I chit-chat in my Temu hauls, have you noticed that, and I'm not to demean or reduce what's going on in Georgia, but has anyone noticed that it's very Uvalde-esque? I'm retired law enforcement, and this boy was on the radar for FBI a year ago. They had contact with the family. They discussed the issues. The children being questioned are saying they saw a man with a gun, which is very different from a 13, 14-year-old with a gun. I just have questions. It took 50 minutes for them to get on the scene. I just have some of the questions. And, you know, I ask questions. It's who I am. From the look of these, I do like them. And they feel weird, but they look nice. And they're tied with a jute string, so I guess I'll leave them tied for a moment. They do look nice. They are very realistic. The painting on them is wonderful. The dye job on the petals is great. And the stems are nice. So I got 6 of these. I don't believe they were very much, but they were like the only option for a prize I had. I do love the color. I got them for fall. So I'll probably stick them in Mama's watering can that she uses as a little home decor item. I'll just try to remember to take those back with me. And I've got a lot coming in. It's just taken a long time for my Temu to come in. And most of it that has come in is down at Mom and Dad. So as soon as I get down at Mom and Dad's, we will have a huge craft and other stuff bonanza. This came here because it's a prize package, and they always send it to the first address you registered. So here we are. That's why it came in here. I wondered why I had a package come up here, but that's why. Or I just didn't change the address when it told me to confirm. Completely plausible. Y'all know who I am. I don't always pay attention. I spent many years paying attention to fine details. I don't want to pay attention now. So anyway, if you rewind and you hear what I said about Georgia, give me some feedback. I just am having Uvalde flashbacks. And as a retired law enforcement, I'm just not happy. I'm just not happy with what's going on. And the fact that it's being turned into gun rights. There are no gun laws that are going to stop this because no one the age of that teenager is supposed to be able to buy weapons. So if you think gun laws are going to help this, stop it. This is a humanity problem. We've taught our children that no one matters. We've taught our children that they are the end-all be-all and no one else matters. And then we have a lot of mental health issues in this nation, and we have fertilized that for the last 10 years. So you get what you sow. And until we change our way of life in this nation, it's only going to get worse if you ask me. But now I worked in corrections for over a decade, and this is all I saw. Generational issues. Sometimes 3 generations on supervision at the same time, 1 in prison. It's a shame. But we've gotten used to it. We have to not worry about ourselves, worry about everyone else. And in the process of worrying about everyone else's issues, we forget about our own. And then we demean ourselves. We approve things we shouldn't do because we feel we're lowly and therefore we need whatever help up the ladder we can get. And so we approve very negative behaviors. And that is where, I guess I should show this to you. This is where society is failing. This came tied, which is very cute. These are the towels. Now, I thought I'd try these. I like this ribbon. Heck, I'll keep that. These are prizes, and I wanted to try the towels at Temu for a while, but I was afraid they would not be nice. So let's see what they look like. Now, they feel nicer than what I have, which makes me... This is your hand towel. This is very, very nice. I wish I had paid more attention to see what the name of this listing was. But this is the hand towel, and it came with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 washcloths that are good size. This is a washcloth. Oh, wait, that's another hand towel. Never mind. 6 washcloths. 2 hand towels, 6 washcloths, and let's see how big the towels are, because I was told that they're tiny. I don't believe it, because what I'm holding in my hand right now is not tiny. This is almost as tall as me. This would probably fit around me. I'm a big gal. So from what I see from the Temu towels, how do you spell this? Verovio. Anyway, here's the tag on the towels. And if you want to buy these, screenshot that, rewind and screenshot that, and put it in your Temu search bar. Well, I'm dropping everything off my table. They're in a bowl. It was just a decor bowl. It was a wood bowl. These are really nice. Like, I thought they would be like... I'm going to tell you my fears about Temu right now when it comes to washcloths and towels. I was afraid that I would buy them, and they would be like... What's the word? The microfiber. Like, they sneak in on your dish towels all the time. Let me pick my bowl up. I dropped my bowl. This is a hand-turned bowl by a very dear friend. His name is Wade. And he gives me one every year. Don't tell him I dropped it. We'll put my roses up there by that. Is it soft to the skin? Yes, and I just wiped a whole bunch of sweat off, so. These are very nice. I don't know if it's just the brand, but I would have to say that these are nicer than what I feel at Walmart half the time, unless they're those really expensive ones. But these are very thick and very soft. So, and if you, again, you want to buy them, they're I don't know how you say that. I think it's like this. I don't know how you say that. Screenshot and put it in the search bar and put towel. I'm very tickled by that. Okay, prizes. The roses, they only give you really one good option. The roses were nice, but these towels are really exceeded my expectations. Straight into the wash they go. I'm very pleased. Okay, and if you're wondering where I'm getting these, I won Fishland and Farmland almost like 3 days apart a couple weeks ago. And I'm fixing to win Farmland again. And if you want to know what I found out, I saved up money and did a huge craft order and a piece of furniture order. And I'll show you the piece of furniture in just a minute. Well, I'll tell you about it. I can't pick up the box. I'll show it to you when I get it put together. I have noticed that normally on my last wheat or fish, I'm normally like one button, one push, 10 points is one, and you have to push it 100 times. I'm getting 5 to 10 for one push, and I think it's how, if you buy more, they're more lenient with you on the games, because here I am 2 weeks later, and I've played it maybe 3 days, and all my banked points are like, you're going to win again. I'm already at like 90% on the last wheat bill. Do I think that's fair? No. Does Temu think that's fair? Yeah. Okay, this is a sweater. Should have sized down. What size did I get? I'm in a 2X, 3X, and I'm still really bad to get a 4X because I've lost 120 pounds. But when I buy clothes, I'm always afraid they're still going to be too small. Got to get my head out of that space, but here we got what I'm reading. I'm wearing my Read Books, Be Kind and Stay Weird shirt. I got a 5X. Well, it'll fit me for a little while, and I'll just make it an oversized cardigan this winter and give it to somebody. But it's really nice quality. I had bought this feather print before and been happy with it, but that shirt was way too big now. I love this feather print. If you know, I make dream catchers, so feathers are right up my alley. This is very nice. This is t-shirt material, and it's not the shiny material. I'm very pleased with this. This is very nice. We shall wash it too. And then I have one more thing, and then we'll chit-chat for a minute. I've got, when I get home to Mom and Dad's, we're going to have a probably 2-hour Temu extravaganza, because I've got so much craft stuff in. I've got a Halloween wreath that I'm dying to make. I'm absolutely dying to make it. I've ordered a black wreath. I've got ravens. I call them crows. And I'm just dying to make that wreath because it's going to be gorgeous. I even bought the fake candles to go on it. Okay, now this was one of my prizes that you choose. This is a USB. It plugs into a USB. It is supposed to be a sunset lamp. Now, it's this big, okay? It's supposed to, like, cast a huge sunset. I don't know if it will. It's not dark enough to test it. This evening, I'll probably plug it up and do a short if I remember and let you know. The reason I got this is because in the winter, it doesn't matter where I stay in the winter. My room is always the darkest room, whether I'm here or I'm at Mom and Dad's. So I thought this would be nice in the winter to have just the fake memory of a sunset. I thought it'd be nice during the winter to not feel so in the dark. So this goes into a USB plug, which I have right here, and I'll plug it up and do a short for you tonight. And we'll see what we think about it. These are not super inexpensive depending on the buyer, but they're moderate. And if you get a Be Happy light, which I have one, they're cumbersome and they're like 80 bucks. So I'm going to try this and see what I think about it. If nothing else, I don't know, it'll be a conversation piece for when people visit. But let me tell you about the furniture I have ordered. I ordered a ladder stand that hooks into the wall with shelves all the way down for plants, because I've got to get my plants in here, and I'm afraid if I don't get them put up while I'm here this time, I will not get them put up for the first frost. And we did that last year and we barely bounced back from it. So I bought a ladder stand. This craft curio here, this one behind me, this one is going to be moved. It's almost empty. It's going to be moved and it's going to be put there. So I have to put it here because that's the closest window for my plants to get decent light in the winter. I've got to get my plants put up before I go back down the mountain because I'm afraid I'll miss the frost. And I don't want to kill them a second year in a row. So I've got tons of plants I've had for years and years and years, and I don't want to forget them. Hi, Ashley. So even though I'm a bad plant mom, I am thinking of them and I'm trying to get this done. So I have the ladder stand here. I have another dresser. On the way, I have a table and light and a bookshelf, one of those tree bookshelves, because I'm trying to limit the books I keep. And a bookshelf in my house becomes a catch-all, so I'm trying to limit the books I keep and put it up. And then when I'm not here, because I'm only here every 3 weeks or so, just for a day or two. When I'm not here, it won't be a catch-all. And so I'm only here enough to do a dish and sweep, and if I feel like it. Normally I'm only here for doctor visits, but since I'm here a little bit longer this time, I thought I'll put this together. I'll go ahead and get it shipped from a local warehouse, and we'll get it put together. The bookshelf thing is supposed to come tonight, and I'm excited about that because it's quirky, it's cute, and it suits me. And I'm in the process of kind of getting my room decor the way I want it, and I've still got to paint 2 walls, so pray for me. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. But I'm really excited about this plant stand because I think it will, number one, help my plants, but number two, brighten the kitchen. And I don't know, I've been on it ever since we redid the bathroom, and I come back here and it's just so bright back in the end of the house now. I'm like, okay, let's just paint every wall white because we've got a lot of stained wood in this house. I'm like, let's just paint every wall white. I want every wall white. And so I'm trying to incorporate more white without making me have to paint every wall because that's probably not a feasible option. And I need more air where I am. Does that make sense? I need more air where I am. I need more. Does that make sense? Mom and Dad's house is, it's not as bright, either, but their door's open all the time, and where you are in the daytime is super bright. So I've gotten used to having more daylight and a brighter home, and now I come back here and I'm like, paint the wall. I want to paint the wall. And is it feasible for me to do it? I don't know, because I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But when I'm here, man, I'm ready to just ready to paint every wall and just have a bright, pretty new room. Does that make sense? I think women, even if it's rearranging your furniture, it's like a mental health break. Does that make sense? I love to change things. And where I've been sick, I've not been able to. Update on my sickness. I redid blood yesterday. Yesterday was a day. I redid blood yesterday. This will be my first blood test since they put me on the methimazole for my thyroid. Theodore, the tyrant thyroid. So by Monday, we should know if it's helping. If it's not helping, I'm sure that my endocrinologist will make arrangements, because she said if it doesn't work, we're taking it out. So I'm sure we'll be heading to surgery. If it works, I can take this for a couple of years and it may self-correct the issue, but she doesn't have a lot of faith. I don't have a lot of faith. Theodore's a butthole. He needs to go. So that's where we are. The last time she took blood, I was coming off all those antibiotics and my liver function was up just a hair. So she wanted to recheck everything. So by Monday, I will know. It's just been a rough couple weeks. Anytime there's a weather transition, it's a rough couple weeks. Adding in, I don't know, I've been avoiding YouTube a lot because it's doom and gloom. But with the school shooting that happened yesterday, I have to kind of pay attention. It's just who I am. I want to know why this happened, why it occurred, how do we not do it? And then I go back and don't research. It's so bad for your health. No, you need to research. Did you all know that in 2011, Miss Harris hit somebody, a 13-year-old to be exact, and that young lady was left in a wheelchair, and her family was bullied into not basically telling anybody about it. And she's been financially taken care of, but she's been bullied to not say anything about it. And then in 2019, Miss Harris said that she wanted all school research officers out of the schools because she wanted to demilitarize the schools. But it was a school research officer yesterday that stopped what was occurring. And she said, we need to face reality and stop militarizing our schools. The police is a public servant, not the military. And I think that we should have school resource officers. I think it's always safe to have somebody having an eye on your children, somebody that is responsible for having an eye on your children. So I'm a little concerned about where they're going now with this. I think the families should be allowed to grieve, and I think that their loved ones should be remembered, and we shouldn't turn this into a gun rights issue because there's no gun law that would have stopped this other than taking away every gun, which is never going to happen. I hope, knock on wood. You just can't stop this. And even without weapons, revolutions happen. Look at Europe, and it happens. So I don't know. I think we just need to pay more attention to what's going on, because this could have stopped even quicker if there had been another resource officer on the other end of the school, if there had been 2 or 3. But we're not having money spent on us. While $350 million was just approved after the $1.5 billion spent earlier this year on illegal immigrants to house, feed, medical care, transportation, while they wait for a work permit. And that could take up to 2 or 3 years. We are not having our roads fixed. We're not having police forces up. We're not getting any extra monies to cities or areas that are booming because of the transition of society here lately. A lot of people moving from California, a lot of people moving to Texas, a lot of people moving to the South. We're not getting any help, even though, the population is greatly moving. Finances are not coming up and helping. That's why our population here has changed almost 4,000 people, but we have not had any extra money because they pay land taxes, but nothing else, because they go out of the county to shop and they retire here. They don't work. So land taxes go horribly high and no other money comes into the county. So we can't even hire another deputy. And then if you read the news, and don't believe anything I tell you, go and research, go and look it up for yourself. In the Northeast, I believe it was the outskirts of New York. It may have research. There was a officer, and they have him on video recording telling people, I cannot arrest that man who just committed this crime, and you have proof, because we're in a sanctuary city, they will not punish him. And they said, he's been in prison and he committed another crime. And he said, I can't arrest him here because we're a sanctuary city. That's why he came here. Hey, how you doing? And then they said, surely you have to arrest this man. How am I going to recoup what he stole from my family? And the guy said, all I know is I arrested a guy for double homicide, and within 24 hours, he walked out of the jail. They will not put charges on illegals in a sanctuary city. Sanctuary means a lot different to me. If I'm receiving sanctuary somewhere, you bet your sweet bippy I'm going to follow the rules. Because they're doing something that should be a great, you know, and that's like a present. That's like the kindness of your soul is gifted to these people who come in and then go, oh, you're not going to harm me? Well, let me do everything I can to harm you. And no, this is not happening in every area where there are illegals coming in, but it is a predominant theme. And then I read yesterday that Hell's Angels are on the way to California or on the way to Colorado from California to tell the gang, what is it, the Dace Argus, I can't say it. Anyway, they were not a prominent issue in America. They were mostly in Venezuela and Central America until we opened the floodgates. Now we've got a gang that is taking over part of Colorado. Have you read about it? Have you heard about it on the news? No? Well, Shazam. So Hell's Angels are headed to Colorado. We all know how that's going to end. So, and it's just like, what's going on? What's going on? Because I have spent, while I've been sick, I've been watching a lot of historical dramas and then researching to see where they tell the truth and where they lie, which is very interesting. It's fun for me. And it's funny because when I read about revolutions in other nations and other countries, when I read about them, the speech of insurrection is always placed upon the behaviors of the people. But in our government, if you speak of insurrection, it's only placed on the government officials. The government has no power. The people have the power. So to say that the government itself, that's not an insurrection. That's called a coup. And I think that people do not understand the vocabulary of what they're dealing with. And I worry about that because words, when they change words and meanings change, it undoes your law. It undoes your law, which we're seeing now in sanctuary cities. And if you do not have rule of law, you do not have a society that you can maintain. So here we go. Oh, I probably should. If I could stay well enough for like a couple weeks to really get it to do a whole show, like edited video, I would love to. My health has been kind of I'm feeling decent today, but boy, yesterday was a rough day. They took a lot of blood from me yesterday. Yesterday was a rough day. But I've just been sitting here going, why can't anyone see what's going on? And what pisses me off beyond hall recognition, and I'm with Squirrel Tribe Lady on this one. Nothing ever happens except for in swing states during election. We don't talk about all these atrocities that happen across our nation until it happens in a swing state on election year. Media, shut up. We know you get a script. Just shut up and tell us you get a script. Well, we know it. But the shooting, if anything else like this happens in a swing state, watch New Hampshire, just watch the areas, like Pennsylvania, Georgia, watch these, after Georgia, watch the northern areas. If something else happens, I'm literally going to go crazy because I see what they're doing. And I have a very detached side of me that I use when I work for law enforcement. And I kind of went back to it, and I was talking to a friend, and I totally went to cold mode. And I didn't mean to, but I went back into my head, and I was thinking, and I just spit out, and I said, if they think they can change society by doing atrocities, then we are no more than pawns, and our children are sheep for the slaughter. And I said it like she got really upset. And I said, I'm sorry, I could have said that in a better way, but I think you needed to hear that. And the sad thing is that I don't put it past my government. I understand what my government has been caught with their hand in the cookie jar before. I understand how malevolent they are. I understand that the 5G towers are being mapped and they're putting bolster signals out between 1 and 3 a.m. to affect the health of Americans. I understand. I understand that we are a currency, not of paper currency, but a physical currency for these people. I understand that. Oh, thank you. I need some prayers. I've been struggling, and it's when we get rid of Theodore the tyrant thyroid, we'll be okay. But I've been struggling to have people understand because yes, we live in probably one of the best nations, but that is why we're being manipulated right now, because every time we say we have a rule, oh, but that's not great for everyone else that wants to come here. There are rules for citizens. We need to have citizens here only. Other people need to sign paperwork to be applicable to our law while they're here. I don't understand how people don't understand this. Look at any other country. Are they allowing people in? Heck no. Vladimir Putin just endorsed Harris for president. Do you understand that? He sees weakness. Why can't anyone else? I see weakness. I see a woman that she says words. Okay, you know how you write in the top of an essay what you're going to discuss and your points, and then you discuss your points? She discusses her points in very vague terms, but never gives you the first paragraph so you can actually chew on something. And I'm so tired of that, because then she can say, well, that meant for that. That was meant for... No, it wasn't. You're just too stupid to create a long form speech about topics that we really care about. Or you don't want to lie and you don't want to say you're trying to help us when you're actually trying to hurt us. So it's just like, if Vladimir Putin can see that way over yonder with all he's got going on, hello, America, wake up, you know. There were people screaming the other day to make her president before Biden gets out of office. Because that, in perception, has power, too. And if you saw Biden the other day, that he was supposed to do a press conference, he never looked at it. They had, like, people screaming questions. Number one, they don't even let him scream like that to Karine Jean-Pierre, who almost called Harris the president the other day. She had to backtrack. He never looked at anybody. He signed a paper, folded a thing, and then looked for his handler to come get him, and he was moving like a sloth. He barely got out of there. He was so slow. He was confused. He never looked at what was supposed to be the audience. And someone that is dementia-ridden would look at loudness. They would react because they would not know how to respond. Then they would be looking for, you know, where's my person that helps me? Where's my safe zone? And he just sat there and was just acting like, oh, you want me to do this? Okay, am I done now? Can I go? And I thought, there's no audience there. They're playing a recording. There's no audience there. And I'm just like, good God. Putin invited Americans to move to Russia because he has got more farmland right now with no farmers, and the best farm options. If you read what's going on now, I would never move to Russia because I don't believe that they have certain things going that I would want to be part of. Namesake like freedom of religion stuff. There's some stuff going on that I would not be a party to. But I will say that if you look at the American farmer and what they went through this year, he has invited a lot of people to look at his farmland and how they are benefited by his nation and how they're taken care of. He is trying to skim the cream of the crop. Don't look at it any other way. He wants the society that we had 20, 30 years ago. He's okay with that. He's fine with that. He doesn't want what we have now, because what we have now is it's a bag of Chex Mix, and there are parts you don't eat. So, Russia is absolutely an oligarchy, but he's willing to film. I mean, just catch that film off the top, the cream of the crop, and take them over it. That's why he's really been bolstering his farmland and his dedication to farmers, and how Russia really pays farmers way better than America. So if you want to look at something, look at what he's been saying about his farmland. I think Putin is not a decent person. He's not a good leader, but I do believe he's very honest in his behavior. I believe he's very honest in his behavior, and I think a mean man with power sees a weak person, and he's ready to jump on it. And if you get another strong person, he'll probably back down. But if he sees weakness, he's going to attack it, because that is what he's trained to do. He's had genetic honing for thousands of years to create this person that he is. And I don't believe he means anybody any good. I mean, I think he wants power, and he wants power, and he wants power to be frozen in Russia, and he wants Russia frozen as it is. And there's things changing in Russia, but I don't think Russia is a good place to be. I had a friend that lived there for several years, and while she enjoyed kind of the community, and they had a lot of community events as far as like to their heritage. She said, I get none of that when I move back to the States. But like the simple liberties we have here, especially when it comes to religion, You don't have that over there. It's basically like China in that resort. Ain't that the truth? We got a ham situation, a hot ass mess. We do. We have a mess. And I don't think there's any one person that can fix this. I think this is going to take generations to fix. I think this is going to take multiple leaders and decent people to stand up and turn us around. And I think it's going to take society falling, crumbling, which we're already seeing with our law being manipulated, sanctuary cities allowing victims to just be re-victimized and almost abused by our government because they refuse to press charges in these sanctuary cities. Well, what does that mean? As soon as everyone else hears that, we've already got gangs taking over land in Colorado. We're a mess. We're a mess. We have turned into the Wild West again, where you race to stake the land, and if you get there first, you fight everybody to the death to keep it. We've turned back into that. And so everybody else that thinks our law and rule is still there and that is sitting politely on the couch going, but no, we're a good society. Watch out, they're coming for you. Because you were still in the clouds thinking that nobody's that mean. Honey, supervised murders for a long time, they're that mean. So I'm concerned. And I'm, moreover, from the people coming into our nation, I'm worried about our own leaders that I believe are using our own society, even our own children, as fodder. And I'm just waiting to see. I'm like, something else is going to happen, another swing state, just wait. They have to get an emotional leg up because they can't get a political policy leg up. So here we go, and I'm like, who else is going to be abused by our nation so they can change our society to fuel assets to them and starve everyone else? We're going to go back to the king and the serfs. The middle class is almost non-existent. So we're almost there anyway. But when we get there, I don't know how people are going to handle themselves if they thought we'd never get there and then they wake up one morning and here we are. And I think we're getting really close to that, to be quite honest. Oh yeah, we have no realist in this world anymore, right? So you have to look at somebody and see what they want you to see. You can't see through your own eyes. You have to think of them how they want you to think of them. You can't think for yourself what you think of them. We have a society where the self is put down here and everyone else is put up here. That is done to demean you so that you will accept everything else because you're way down here on the bottom and you don't matter. Be nice to everybody else. That's how you redeem yourself. Be a kind person. And let me tell you where kindness gets you. It gets you on the co-defendant list in court. That's where kindness will get you. So I'm worried about everyone else not seeing this. And I'm sitting there going, really? You don't see that? Like I talk to people in my little area of Appalachia that still does not see this. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, so when you have, like, when your cornfield gets nice and high, if your fence that you've put up to keep the deer out breaks down, you don't repair it? Oh, no, I repair it because I don't want the deer to get what I've grown. Okay, well, our border on the United States, we have fence down. Would you not repair it? Oh, no, those people need to come in into everybody else's cornfields because they are not coming in to be productive citizens. If you're a productive citizen, I'll accept you. Do it legally. Come on, move in next door. I'll be nice to you. I'll make you a casserole. But if you're just coming here to usurp what has already been bought and paid for, and then to just run away from the law because you think sanctuary means you're untouchable, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. And we are creating such a negative cultist mentality with minding the law, monitoring your own area, your own perimeter, where it's physical or, emotional. We don't allow people to set their own boundaries anymore. We allow a certain group of people to set the boundaries and everyone else follows. And I think that's I think we need to pay attention to that. How can 0.03% of the population dictate the rest? But all we see is pressure. And I have no animosity toward anybody. I'm sitting in Appalachia with Freddie Mercury on my arm. But I know that my population of Appalachia is not well represented in the media. No. I don't see a lot of indigenous people represented in the media, but yet we've got this minute percentage of the population being absolutely plastered. Why? Why? Well, no, it's not. It's no, and people don't understand that we're a constitutional republic. They want to scream about democracy, and I've gotten to where I hate the word democracy because it completely falters the premise upon which we were made. And people screaming for democracy do not understand a constitutional republic. We do not always want to, we don't always want to see everyone having a voice. We want to see the bulk of society having a voice, but we don't see that anymore. We see these finite, minuscule populations, and they're focused on because guess what? They're used for media purposes. They're used to pawn off tragedies and issues. They're used to create other resources, so other governmental resources that generate more money and more money and more money. But do these resources ever work? No. That's why we're still sending kids to be raised in daycares on government welfare, and we're working, but we know that our children are not being raised. This is not working. Our children are not doing as well as they do in a two-parent home when one stays home, but yet we still do this. And these government grants, they just circle back and go in the pockets of politicians. It never helps anyone. If it helped, we would be the best nation in the world. And we're not. We're struggling. And it's because the dollar is more important than the person here. And I get so frustrated with that. And a lot of people, a couple of years ago when everything was going on, they were like, well, I want $600. I want $600. I was like, I would rather never have a penny, struggle for 4 or 5, maybe even 10 years, and have my grandchildren have a decent economy and then get $600. And no one else thought like that. They wanted. And I was sitting there going, you're not thinking long term. And I think that's a fault with America. We're not thinking long term. We don't sit down and look at the other countries in the world. We don't understand how they run, so we don't understand how we run. We don't see the differences. We don't see the similarities. And we certainly don't judge people by motive. And I want to know your motive. I'm going to pay attention to you till I know what you're doing. And then I'm going to make my mind up about you. And that's just common sense. I'm not going to judge your soul. That's for the good Lord. But I'm going to judge your motive. And that's going to be determined as if you get around me or not. And I'm just sitting here flabbergasted that we're spending billions of dollars that should be going to the citizens of America. They say we're giving it to these cities. But the cities are only funneling it to illegals, which is going back into another government program, which is feeding back to our big wigs, how does people go into a public servant job and come out millionaires? It's the system is being, listen, all of our, I can't say this nicely, all of our politicians are on the tit. Like a little piglet just latched in there with 12 others, every one of them, all of them, even the congressmen, even the ones that I think might be there for maybe a decent reason, they're all there for financial reasons as well. And I will say that back in the day when Parliament in England did not get paid, they might have been onto something there. And then all that changed and they became wealthy figures. But they might have been onto something there. Is it possible to live? It's more of, can you live off grid without it seeping into you? There are people that still live off grid in some of the last homesteads in Alaska that still live there. And they can live there until the last member of their family is dead. And then the land goes back to the government. The government's getting so much land right now. But is it true? I don't know. Because our society has become so weak. I don't know. Like, I think if I was healthy, I would probably be in a dry cabin somewhere in the back. Yeah, I would not be. You would not see me very much. If I was healthy, I would probably want that way of life. I look at little cabins and I'm like, I could live there. I could do that. If I was healthy, I would be there. People ridicule people that prepare and that put up venison, that put up wild hog. People ridicule people like me and my husband's put up a couple of hogs, and You wouldn't believe, even in this small area, the people that would go, why do you do that? Because I don't want to pay $600 for it at Walmart. Why do you do that? You know, but nobody thinks long term anymore. I don't know if we have the mentality for someone to live completely off grid. And I don't know if something happened to our nation, if we had to turn back into the people that could survive, if it wouldn't go south really quick. You know, and we would turn into literally pirates of the world. Well, I wish it were volunteer work everywhere. There are still some jobs that are volunteer. There's some constable positions, but primarily the people that enforce or make or structure our society, they get paid well. And if they don't get paid well, they have means to financially drain us dry. I mean, Pelosi has never had a bad stock deal. It's not heard of. But, you know, nobody will point a finger at her and say, what are you doing? Martha Stewart went to prison. Why can't you? So I don't know. I'm just frustrated, and I imagine it's going to get really nasty in the next couple months. I'm frustrated because this Georgia situation reminds me of Uvalde. I'm with a lot of people. I think there was more than one gunman. I think something else is going on here. And I think if you don't understand how minuscule you and your family are to our politicians, you need to wake up. That boy, according to the FBI, had been on a watch list for a year, and they had made contact with the family because he was threatening things like this. Why in the world is the FBI watching a 13-year-old without notifying the parents? Because they didn't go talk to the parents until later. He was on like several lists. Bet you I am too. I better be. I'm working hard here. But it's just like, what is your motive here? And could this have been corrected if you had not tried to be a ghost, a fictitious government hanging over here? If you had just went to the parents and said, hey, we have an issue. I'm not going to wait 7 to 10 months. You have an issue. And we need to work with this kid so that your community is safe. Nobody did that. They came in, later and said, do you have weapons here? Can he get to them? And if the FBI has to come to your home because what your child's doing on the internet, high probability you need your butt kicked. And I was so on top of my kids until they were 18 because I'm still responsible for you. Do not do anything to tarnish my name. Because retaliation will be, and nobody is raising children to be the next level of society. They're raising children like little wild animals to do whatever they want, feel whatever they want, take whatever they want, and when are we going to get back to raising the next generation instead of raising our childhood the way we thought we wanted it, though you're not old enough to understand the repercussions of that. So he was online threatening school gun violence. That's the nicest way I can say that. He was online threatening it multiple times. Well, you would think that a parent that had a kid get a cyber nanny or something. I mean, pay attention, monitor your children, know what's going on. When they're 18 and they leave your home, crap happens. But until then, you're responsible. And I wish parents would take that more seriously because it's like they are big enough to alter the world they live in. Be prepared to be responsible for that if you're not maintaining that young person. So that's just where I am. I'm afraid more violence is going to happen. It terrifies me. I wonder who is going to be cannon fodder for the government. I mean, go look in 2011, Kamala Harris had a 13-year-old, and it was shut down. They didn't want anybody to know. She's still wheelchair bound. Her parents were paid off and intimidated. In 2019, Kamala said she want to take all school resource officers out of schools, demilitarize the schools. Yet the other day she was saying, "Oh, we need more people in schools. We should," And it's like, and then they focus on gun violence. It doesn't matter if it could be anything. It could be a rock. More people in America do things with nasty words than weapons. But we have created a society to where if I don't feel good, I can take my feelings out on you. And I'm not responsible for it because it mentally hurt me. And I'm just, how weak do we have to be before we stand up and go, excuse me? We had people that were pure grit. They were pure grit, and they rolled right over this nation and started a wonderful place for us. And though we've done things wrong, why can't we continue to say we have a little bit of that spirit left? We can still get crap done. And I'm just frustrated that everybody is such a pansy, just such a pansy, and they're stuck on their feelings. And I'm sitting here going, shut up, sit down, shut up, look at this. Because what you may be feeling for 5 seconds does not matter in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. This is a bus stop. It's an emotional bus stop. Get on another bus and feel another feeling. Don't scar society with your stupid mental outrage. But we've become a society where we lash out at others for fictitious reasons. We have a world in here. We don't stay in the community. We don't understand how we affect others. The ripple effect is big, and if no one else realizes it, the government does, because they play it like a fiddle. And I see very little that occurs that does not have a pull somewhere, and it frustrates me because I even had federal issues. I dealt with the Fed several times when I was working, and I saw such incompetence. And it bothers me. The other people are they're like, oh, well, everybody's taken care of. We've got people that watch. No one is watching out for you. They're looking at you and licking their lips and wondering what you can get them in 2, 3, 4 years. You don't believe me? Really? So you watched somebody amped up on amphetamines for a couple of years and voted for them, and now we're sinking ship. But you're going to vote for another one that's doing the same thing, that can't answer questions, can't publicly speak, laughs like a hyena, has no record really of public service. I mean, honestly, look at her record. There's nothing that you can hang on to that she's done, and yet people are still falling over her, saying she's great. She's going to be the first woman. Well, as a woman, let me tell you what I found out about the world. The rest of the nation is not ready for a female leader. They barely recognize what we have going on anyway. They look at us like the younger, troublesome sibling. We're going to have to be careful what we wish for, because it's not always what is necessary in the world. So, oh, the laugh kills me. Yes, it kills me too. It grates on my nerves, because I know she's using that laugh to pause and think, because she doesn't have the wit to say it on the fly. And that bothers me. Oh yeah, they said, oh, the internet's going to share information, which, from a basis sounds like, yes, we'll be smart, but how stupid are we now that we can Google everything? We don't retain any knowledge. Oh, I can Google it. Well, okay, when everything goes down, are you going to Google it? It's like, write a recipe down. Well, why do I write a recipe down? We don't have recipe cards anymore. We just Google it. Okay, well, what if Google goes away? What happens then? No one thinks like that. No one thinks like that. And as quickly as we got here, it can go away even faster. And if it were used to actually make us smarter and make us understand what's going on in the world, it would not be allowed for us to use. So, I'm just at a point where I'm really frustrated. And I'm seeing what's going on. I'm seeing the money spent in places basically to buy votes, to buy bulk humanity and buy votes. That's the best way I can say it. And they're going to make anyone that doesn't like what's going on an outsider, a horrible person. You're going to be racist and all those other things, because you want your nation to monitor who is in here. Because, heck, I'm being monitored. Everybody here is. You got a social security number? You are responsible to your government. So I want everyone else, I want to know who's in my community. I want to know that if somebody breaks the law, there are going to be repercussions for that person. I want to know that the government has a better idea of what's going on. I want to know where those 200, 300,000 kids went across the border and flipped off the radar. I bet your government knows. So I'm at that point where I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be painful for us. And, well, I think in a lot of ways you're true, because I believe that Harris has no business being in the White House. I don't see anything. I don't see anything from her that says you need to lead a country. I don't. I can say that Trump's business acumen would be very welcome for our nation. He did a lot financially for our nation. But anything that he does, they're going to work 10 times as hard to undo. because it's all about power and the perception of power. So who's going to get screwed either way? Us. We're going to get screwed either way. But take heed from the other world leaders laughing at our options. Take heed from that. Well, everybody keeps talking about his Project 25. That's not on his, it's not on his page. It's not part of his running. I watched an interview yesterday where Barack Obama, because Project 25 is supposed to go back to that, oh gosh, what is it? It's what Obamacare was based on. And Obamacare didn't leak that. He tried to keep that under wraps. But what they're saying Trump is doing, well, Barack Obama did that in 2008, and that's not Trump's running policy. But people won't go and investigate. They won't go and investigate. And I'm sitting here going, we've not had power in this nation in a long, long time. The people have not had power, not in a long, long time. And with the mental sabotage they're doing in this nation right now, we're not going to have power for a long, long time. So we're all screwed. Hi, Mickey. Heritage Foundation. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you. Yes, that's Barack Obama used the Heritage Foundation to fund Obamacare. And they're like, he's using the Heritage Foundation. He's a racist. And I'm like, Barack Obama has dipped into that 50,000 times. But nobody believes me. Oh, I think my nurse is here. Okay, my nurse is here. We'll talk again later. Bye, guys. Awesome.